the task. And also thank those that who have been acting on these positions. You'll know that some have acted for quite a long time, especially in the crime intelligence and others. So we're simply saying to them, thank you very much for holding the fort when most of us we were trying to sort ourselves and stabilize matters. The new appointments to the top level echelon of the police hierarchy in the post of divisional commissioners. That will be crime intelligence, detectives and protection and security services, usually called CI and also called PSS, as well as Provincial Commissioner of Free State, consist of men and women of exceptional caliber and renowned credentials in the different fields of expertise. The SAPS continues to advance and uphold the fundamental principle of excellence, professionalism in implementing the recruitment strategy. Members of the media, the fight against crime requires crime intelligence that is focused and progressive. The need for the complete overhaul of that environment remains a priority for the new leadership. Equally, detective services needs re-engineering and repositioning in order to do justice to its core business of resolving crime. We are confident that the new breed of leadership will improve efficiency and effectiveness in the business of policing and further contribute positively in the implementation of the turnaround plan as championed by the National Commissioner of the South African Police. Moreover, the police machinery requires individuals with wealth of knowledge and understanding in the various disciplines. Ladies and gentlemen, we remain strongly entrenched in the ideas of progressive leadership. Hence, we pride ourselves in the following appointments. You will pardon me, the media claim that I'm sure you will be supplied by individual CVs and who they are. The only thing I can tell you is that when you see their CVs, you'll smile. You will realize that we're pushing up the bar in the South African Police. South African Police is no more the place where when you don't know what to do, you are told to go and try your luck. No more. Here, we're striving for excellency. So, crime intelligence will be Major General Anton Jacobs, who is appointed there as a Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence at the level of Lieutenant General. We'll be seeing them. He hails from Cape Town and has been down there in the same environment for some time. As I'm saying, I'm not here to provide their CVs, we'll be getting that. And then Detective Services is a Major General Tebelo Constance Mosikidi. Before her appointment as the Divisional Commissioner, Detective Services at the rank of Lieutenant General was serving as a national head of family violence, child protection and sexual offences units. Is a kind of the environment that has been working on detectives. She's a lady. Protection and Security Services will be Major General Samson Sitabane, is appointed as a Divisional Commissioner of Protection and Security Services at the level of the Lieutenant General. You'll also see their history. I just see PA degrees here and all that kind of thing. I saw something. I asked somebody, there was masters, I asked if it is a master's ceremony, they say no, it's a degrees. So those kind of people we're dealing with here. Provincial Commissioner of Free State will be Major General Moketsi Sempe, who is appointed as the Provincial Commissioner of Free State, with immediate effect at the level of Lieutenant General. So all they are appointed with immediate effect. By the time you leave here, they have been starting their work. Their experience in the organization, the least is 23 years and the most is 27 years. So as Dalila, we're not here to play. The rest will be then given to you by those that are responsible for their CVs. But mine will be closed by saying, ladies and gentlemen, all 4 strategic appointments are aimed at responding directly to the core mandate of fighting crime and furthermore ensuring that people of South Africa are and that they feel safe. We wish to thank the sterling leadership of National Commissioner and his team in facilitating the new appointments. I've said to them, the people that are given responsibilities, we are throwing them out there for everybody to see them. And I said, usually it's better to go to the court of law rather than to go to the court of public opinion. They'll have to prove themselves out there. The world is tough there. The battle is against tough guys. And strategically, as they put there, almost all of them, they are put in a strategic places to be able to push the crime back. So the call from the 4 that today we're placing in the hands of the world to answer the question, Tumamina. The question is Tumamina. Send me. They know their job to do things that they're supposed to do on behalf of the people of South Africa, to make them sure that they are safe, make sure that they sleep peacefully, to make sure that there is no abuse of women and children. I'm very glad with the appointment of the head of detectives. Surely she'll be putting more effort as she comes from that environment where has been protecting women and children. I'm sure she will continue everybody, but the emphasis will be the safety of women and children in the Republic of South Africa. For that reason, allow me to say thank you very much, and we'll be continuing to squeeze the crime out. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister, for taking us through the official statement. Members of the media will then hand over to you if there are any questions. You'll just indicate by the show of hands. I'm noting one hand. Any other question? 1, 2. I've got 2 questions for now in that particular order. You just introduce yourself and the news organization that you're representing and then pose the question to the minister. There you can take over. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Barry Bateman, Eyewitness News. My question is directed to General Sitole. General, I'd like to comment on the letter that was written to you from Major General Teal about you allegedly sending 2 of your deputies to speak to Teal to try and convince him to withdraw complaints he had lodged against Major General Jacobs. Now, the issue, as I understand, is not so much about the merit of the complaints, because there was a due process that had been initiated. It was being investigated by Lieutenant General Tsamane. But the question relates to the apparent interference in due process by the head of the police instead of allowing the matter to be fully investigated. The other relates to what appears to be already, we've just had this appointment, but we see there's already infighting where we've got complaints lodged by the provincial commissioner or the provincial head of crime intelligence in the Western Cape having a dispute with now the divisional commissioner of the particular unit. It certainly doesn't bode well. If you can just comment on the concerns related to that. Second question, IPID was in Parliament today. And we go back to SCOPA at the beginning of the month where IPID revealed that in its investigation of the iView matter, there were outstanding documents which apparently had been classified, and they required those documents to conclude the investigation. I understand 2 weeks later, yourself and SAPS management was in SCOPA where you had committed to declassify these documents within a particular time frame. Robert McBride told Scope or the portfolio committee today that those documents had not yet been declassified. And he specifically identified yourself and senior management as protecting suspects in criminal investigations by hiding behind this question of declassification. And then lastly, and I apologize for being with these long questions, and this is another matter raised by Hybrid in Parliament today, and it relates to this IVM investigation. Please can you provide me with an explanation for why on the 13th of December last year you had a meeting between yourself, your two deputies, the acting head of crime intelligence, the former minister's advisor, and the director of IVM Integrated Systems. Thank you.
The next question, thank you.
General Sitole, Michael from ENCA.
Ngbuze nambo. Ask me too.
It was also revealed in the Police Portfolio Committee meeting that, and it's just an update on this figure, potentially where the process is at, 22 crime intelligence operatives without any security clearance, and they are tasked with counterintelligence, national security, and security intelligence. These are not Mickey Mouse positions. What update can you give the public that we may not potentially be sitting with more Captain KGBs in crime intelligence, those that are convicted criminals sitting without security clearance in crime intelligence? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will then take the responses and we will go back if there are any follow-up questions or new questions. Minister, National Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions. Yeah, firstly, some of the questions the Minister will also relate on them. I will put the two questions together. The one that talks to General Theo, being visited by two senior officers, and the complaint by the Provincial Commissioner. My response is, the complaint of the Western Cape has been brought to my attention long before the two officers went down to Western Cape. The Provincial Commissioner came to my office and he related the problem to me. And as National Commissioner, I instructed a national intervention in the Western Cape. And that national intervention was led by Lieutenant General Zumani. The rest of the other developments, which include what you are relating to, they happened within the intervention which I instructed long before. What I'm not aware of is an instruction to General Theo to withdraw whether it's cases or what is it against General Jacobs. But all I can say is that General Jacobs has been screened, and he has also been taken through an evaluation and is a clean appointee. So it has never been necessary for me to ask anyone to try and withdraw anything against him in order to clean him up. I think he's clean, and it's a clean appointment. This, I will get to the one of the 22 crime intelligence officers. I'm glad because this question, as you put it, you referred to the portfolio committee. But at the same time, when I was there at the portfolio committee, I made the commitment to the portfolio committee. I have commissioned a special vetting project. And that particular special vetting project has got a beefed up capacity of vetting officers whom I have given the assignment to finalize or to speed up the process of vetting of the CI officers and also finalize it within a short space of time. And as I'm speaking to you, that project is in progress. And it's also making quite a lot of that is a success. And finally, while this vetting project is taking place, all the members of crime intelligence, they've been taken through what we call the GAG system, which is a system that makes sure that no one of them has got an illicit. But over and above the GAG system, when they have to undertake a specific exercise, they also sign an oath of secrecy relating to that particular exercise. This is the assurance I can give to the public with regard to this particular matter. And within a short space of time, as we bring in the new appointee within crime intelligence, my first instruction is the immediate turnaround of crime intelligence. Part and parcel of that turnaround is to make sure that that division doesn't stay with any person who's not vetted or who doesn't have a security clearance. Thanks. I will give to the other question that relates to the declassification of documents to the Minister. Thank you, Minister.
I'm sure we'll go back to the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back to the meeting.
All people that are appointed today, they've got top secret clearances. Top secret. So don't ask us about them now.
Yes.
And their clearances. I want to shortly try to venture in the question of declassification that was supposed to be done by the Commissioner. I'm sure the plan of the media would understand that with the crime intelligence, we've got two portions. We've got what you call overt and what you call covert. Usually, covert will report to the Joint Standing Intelligence Committee, not to any open committee. Not to any open committee, because it's covert. So all people of that Joint Intelligence Committee are vetted. Other portfolio committees might not be vetted. That's one. So the declassification will have to be worked at that level rather than any ordinary portfolio committee that is open. Secondly, the IG, the Inspector General, might have a word in the declassification. For your information, I have met with McBride, the head of IPT, on the matter, and I have discussed it with him, and we have agreed that he will have to speak with the IG, and the IG, Inspector General, instruct us. So we are safe, because you might be called to account if you declassify information having not gone through the necessary channels of dealing with the matter. So the matter at the present moment is there. If IG says fire, we will. If the standing committee say yes, we will. But for now, it will be a bit illegal for us to go declassifying without having gone through these channels I'm talking about. So the matter is on the table and the matter is worked. If IG says no, definitely we won't declassify. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Minister. Maybe just also to put it right, I said to Scopa, I will consider the declassification of the documents within the framework of the law. Only if the law allows it. There's a Secret Service Act and there's a Strategic Intelligence Act. And they agreed with me. So I just did not say I was going to declassify documents. The meeting, I think we were dealing with a national security threat in the meeting. That was what was brought to my attention. What I just want to explain is that when I deal with a national security threat, there's three authorities that I report to. One is the Minister. Two is the Joint Standing Committee, and three is the President. And I can't explain to any other person. I heard you wanted me to explain, but it was a national security matter, I'm sorry. So I cannot explain it to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sitole and the Minister. Are there any more questions? Any follow-ups? Any other questions? Okay, there's a follow-up from Barry. Any other questions so that we then are clear that this is the last round? Okay, Barry, you can pose your follow-up question there. Thank you.
Hi, General. It's back on the issue. I don't think you quite addressed it. You referred to your intervention that you had put in place regarding Jacobs and Tio. But the question still goes is, you have a crime intelligence unit now where there is already tension between two members. You've got your National Leadership Divisional Commissioner and you've got the Western Cape provincial commissioner, the Western Cape head of crime intelligence. There is that tension between the two. Is it not possible that these could have been settled before we make this announcement? We've got this new announcement, which is fantastic, but we're already going into a place where there is infighting between the various leadership. How are you going to address that?
Yeah, thanks very much. What I would like to acknowledge and appreciate is the fact that you acknowledge that this is a fantastic appointment.
Thank you.
That's right. And we also acknowledge and accept that with appreciation. Maybe, I'm not sure, you seem to have confined this issue between General Jacobs and General Bio, which was not the purpose of the intervention. The intervention, the national intervention, is correcting leadership issues and working relationships in the Western Cape top management, led by the provincial commissioner, not between General Jacobs and Bio. And I'm glad that you are bringing it to my attention that there's tension between General Jacobs and Bio. But I'm aware of the tension within the management of the Western Cape, and that's how I intervene. And it's not the only way in which we intervene, and it is also not the only province in which I have instructed a national intervention. But let me come to the response where you say, what am I gonna do with this? This intervention continues, and for your information, as part and parcel of the turnaround vision of the country, I have introduced the Simunya concept, which is very transformative in nature. It forms part and parcel of the building block of rebuilding a team, making the South African Police Service a team. So all those concepts, they are applied across the country as part and parcel of the reunification of the organization, but also the rebuilding process. The intervention in the Western Cape will continue, and there's a point where I will be personally involved. And I'm also from the Western Cape anyway, to address all starting with the top management, but even all the members and the staff. So that concept is in place as I'm speaking, the Simunya concept.
But Barry, adding on that, your questions are somehow contradictory. You accuse him of interfering, and you send him to intervene.
That's right.
So it's a bit contradictory. It's an intervention, not interference. He's right. Responsible for the organization. If there is unhealthy relationship, not Western Cape, anywhere, he's responsible at the end of the day. When chips are down, he will have to see to it before he comes to me. That's the first question I'll ask. Have you intervened? So you acknowledge that, but you acknowledge it on the left and on the right to forget it. So another thing, serious point that you raised, there is no tension between Jacobs and Tio. There is a problem of the leadership in the Western Cape, of which we are all working on it. So I hope we'll be able soon to deal with that. And remember, is one highly problematic province, Western Cape. Your Medas capital is there in those townships, your gangsters, your everything. So we are not going to afford any luxury of people fighting among and between themselves instead of fighting the major thing, the crime. So it's one thing that we have spoken, and we expect him to work on it, pull all stops to make sure that that happens. We hope soon we will be able to deal with those matters.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, National Commissioner. Thank you, members of the media. I think we've come to the end of the Q&A session of the session, and then we'll then go to the second session that I indicated alluded to earlier, that of the National Commissioner and the procession that will take place immediately of the new appointees being ranked in front of the live audience. I think we'll just then hand over for the process, and the new appointees will then be called accordingly to take the to the podium as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much, Reverend Director. Yeah, I would ask the appointees to come forward, but I would like to ask the Honorable Minister to join us down so that we are able to rank. Thank you.
Face the nation first.
Well, you're watching SABC News. It's nearly 4 p.m. This is a live crossing to the SAPS press briefing that's just wrapped up in Pretoria. We're catching the tail end there after questions were fielded by the new police minister, Bheki Cele. He's just announced the new head of crime intelligence as Anton Jacobs. The head of detective services is Constance Mosekedi, and the new provincial commissioner of the Free State is Moketsi Sempe.
Yeah, and the you'll see Samson Sitole has been appointed as Divisional Commissioner of Protection and Security Services. Also, what he said and was very important was that none of the people that have been appointed would not have been properly vetted. Everyone's been vetted, and they all come with more than 2 decades. It's more than 20 years of experience. They've got a wealth of experience
the
behind them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is that the only female appointment this afternoon is Constance Mosekedi, and she brings a wealth of experience, years in child protection services, which really aligns well with the National Plan of Action when it comes to the fight against gender-based violence in the country, which is still a very pervasive problem within South African society. And the minister, of course, does have a tough task ahead of him, Peter. He's got to really try harder now to bridge the gap and to rebuild public trust and confidence in the South African police services, and we do wish him well.
Yeah, there's
he's made a good start, I think.
Yeah, there's a bit of a backstory there, of course, is that Khehla Sitole, Lieutenant General Khehla Sitole, who's the National Police Commissioner, apparently has been accused of interfering with the appointment of Jacobs, because it seems that in the Western Cape he's facing at least 4 complaints against him, and the arguments are that, or the allegations are that he wanted these charges to disappear so that this appointment could be made quickly. But he says that no, he's just trying to bring harmony into the organization, and that turning around the crime intelligence service is key, and part of that has been that vetting process. So perhaps a few more questions will still be asked around Jacobs's appointment, but certainly he's got the top job at crime intelligence at the moment.
Well, on that note, let's leave it there. We've got your weather details in